Hi, welcome to another adventure. So my last video was about reasons to teach abroad. This is about reasons not to teach abroad. My experience definitely comes directly from Japan, so maybe your mileage may vary. If you have any suggestions or other tips, leave them below. I don't think I'm exploiting this, but I just kind of walked onto a resort. People at the front desk said, hello. And I said, good morning, how are you? No, there's no one here. I'm not hurting anything, right? Whoa! I know where I am! My last video, if you remember, I said, look at the people chilling up on their... Hello, person relaxing on their couch. And chilling up on their porch, that's that. He's still there. And look. That's where I was walking yesterday. Oh, the places you'll go. All right, the first thing that my mother can attest to is that Japan is hot. Know your climates. The summertime in Japan is densely humid. It's 33 degrees Celsius. It's miserable to go outside. It was even miserable to go to work, and I was a 6-minute bike ride away, covered in sweat. Don't overlook it, and definitely don't underestimate it. The second, if you have a lot of food restrictions, I'm gonna say still do it. So I was vegan in Japan, and there were no vegan restaurants, there were no vegan options, there was no English menus. The restaurants didn't even know what vegan was. I had to cook my own food, and that took up a lot of my time. I saved a lot of money, and I couldn't experience a lot of Japanese culture because a lot of Japanese culture is food-based, just like every culture. So if you have severe peanut allergies or something like that, do it. Just get the feeling from this video. These are just precautionary things. They're not mandatory. You can teach abroad if you have a peanut allergy. That's fine. Number 3, in Japan, everything is a lot shorter. So if you're a really tall person, your house is gonna feel weird. Don't hit your head. Maybe wear a helmet. Number 4, in Japan, Oreos have cow nipple juice in them. In other countries, they don't. In most other countries that I found, Oreos have no cow nipple juice. So if you're fine with sucking a cow's nipple, then you would be fine eating Oreos in Japan. Next point, if you are not an ambivert, teaching might be difficult for you. If you didn't watch my last video, basically everything in that video, just make it negative, and it applies, and this is one of those points directly. You are going to have periods of bitter loneliness. And if you don't have the right hobbies or coping mechanisms, it's gonna be difficult for you. When your friends are on 12-hour time zone difference, or 13 or 14, you wake up in the morning and you can't talk to them. Or after work, you can't talk to them. They're not there. And then you don't have friends or family where you live, so everything is gonna be on your own. You might have some coworkers, you might have some friends in the area, but if you come from university where you are surrounded by people you know and love every day, that's something you're gonna have to deal with. The next point being is, if you're not extroverted, being a teacher will be very difficult because you're presenting and interacting with people all day long. My job was super extroverted because we were dancing foreign monkeys. We were told that if the students aren't smiling and laughing, that they're not having a good time. So sometimes you're selling the experience of English, not the product of teaching English. Maybe. Should I change? Dynamic interaction. Hey, welcome to the new location. How do I say this? Self-expression in foreign countries is very different. People view America as being super liberal and nobody cares. So in Japan, visible tattoos are a no-go. They even discriminate against people with tattoos. They have a history of gangs wearing tattoos, so they directly associate tattoos with gang violence. It's a terrible thing. The culture shifting. Young people are different, but old people are pretty strict about it. Onsens, or bath houses, hot springs, sometimes they prohibit tattoos. That being said, Japanese high school students, they have to have the same hairstyle. So there's Japanese businessmen, they wear white, blue, brown, and black, and sometimes gray. And those are their colors. There's absolutely no self-expression in a place like Japan for the most part. So if you're somebody that loves to wear pink booty shorts and color your hair a different color every week, it's gonna be difficult for you to fit in. You're gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and potentially people are going to quite literally discriminate against you. I mean, Japan isn't as bad for women in some Middle Eastern countries, probably, but if you think about it. So the next point is if you hate mochi, maybe don't teach in Japan. But to that point, if you hate mochi, you're probably the devil and you're probably not teaching English anyway. My next point, don't teach abroad if you're like a boring person. Not if you're like, oh, I'm not funny. No, it's just like if you're a boring person. You know, if you don't do anything fun, if you don't try anything new, if you're not curious, if you listen to the same song over and over and over and over and over and over again, going to a different country and trying something new takes a lot of ambition. And I feel like boring people aren't ambitious. Maybe. Also, everybody hates boring teachers. Like, you know, you had boring teachers and you didn't like them. If you're a racist, that's my next point, probably don't teach. It's really difficult to teach students you believe are genetically inferior to yourself. Just stay on your farm. My second to last point, my penultimate point, if you're like a big fan of drugs and crime, like don't, like your safety will be at risk. I know, so Japan and Korea are like really adverse to drug use. Like the people are against it, the police are against it, like I did not smell marijuana once in Japan. My students didn't even ask me about drugs, like nothing. And crimes and stuff, like do you want to get deported? Do you want to be detained in a foreign country? Like your stakes are higher when you're not a citizen. Just look at immigrants in America. It's the same there, but America's probably worse because America. And then my last point, and I think this is the most important point, if you're not a patient person, going abroad is going to be very difficult. I mean, you have to deal with visa stuff, you have to deal with students and not understanding and communication problems and airport troubles and learning new jobs and meeting new people and spending a lot of time by yourself and making a lot of lesson plans, and patience is a virtue, and that is a saying for a reason. If you want to learn how to be patient, like go do this experience, like it's going to teach you a lot. But there were so many times where I was like, even walking to get food, and I was like, oh, I can't eat there. Okay, let's go to the next place. Oh, it's closed. Okay, let's go to the next place. Oh, I can't eat there. Let's go to the next place. And then using Google Translate on my phone and not getting frustrated and trying to be understanding. And when a student doesn't understand, after 5 examples and 5 synonyms and 5 antonyms, and they're still like, what? Being patient and not getting frustrated is such an important skill. And if you're just not a patient person, it's going to be difficult for you. And that rounds this out. These aren't reasons not to teach. These are simply things to think about when you're going to apply. They're important things. They're going to affect your day-to-day life. They are all overcomeable. You don't need to be a racist. You don't need to do drugs. You don't need pink hair. Okay, all right. I think self-expression is one of the most important things in the world. It's all just terribly important. And if you make decisions without critically thinking about them, you could regret them. What do you think? Have you taught abroad? Did I get it right? What are you nervous about? Tell me. Put a message in the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as I can. This is my voicemail box. I wonder if they're gonna kick me out soon. All the things money can buy, right? So crazy. No, this is my last point. Don't teach abroad if you don't like amazing things.